Hello, cabinet making class. So today we're going to calculate for your door stiles and rails. Although you might not have your face frame totally completed and assembled, you can still, from your plans, calculate what you're going to need for your door pieces. So for a door, you're definitely going to use solid material for the frame of it. The stiles run vertical, just like in your face frame, so do the ones with the doors. For our purposes, what we're going to do, and many cabinet makers will do, is a variant of sizes for your door stiles and rails. We're going to go with 2 1/4 in width, and that's going to be a standard throughout our process. Now, when you calculate for the stiles, you're going to take the height of your finished opening for your cabinet frame, and you're going to add 5/8 of an inch in its length for a rough sized door, meaning that you're going to cut still a little bit more off the top and bottom. Now, why 5/8? 5/8 includes a 1/4 inch for an overhang on the top of the door, a 1/4 inch for the bottom overhang of the door, and an 1/8 of an inch for a little bit of trimming and sanding, because when you put the stiles and rails together, there's going to be a little bit of glue, maybe a little bit of unevenness through that process, and you're going to want to take a little bit more off. So a 1/16 off the top and a 1/16 off the bottom will be the rest of that 5/8. So 1/4 plus a 1/4, half, plus another 1/16, and another 1/16 brings us to that 5/8 of an inch. For the rails, they run horizontal, just like a face frame, and they're going to go between the stiles. So when you see, and they're going to still be 2 1/4 in width. Now, the width of the opening of your finished cabinet minus 3 1/8. Now, obviously, that's a big jump from our adding 5/8 for our little bit of an overhang. Now, where does this 3/8, the 3 1/8 come from? It comes from the overhang of the door on the left or right, the other overhang on the opposite side of the door, left or right. It also comes with that 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and it also has the grooves on the inside of the stiles where the rails are going to tuck. And the rails have small little tongues on them. So all that being said and done, after you measure your opening, you just take minus 3 1/8. And you'll have your finished length of each rail. If you have double doors, so if you have a cabinet that is 36 inches wide for the opening, it's like, yeah, that would be one big door, almost talking about a standard exterior door on a home. Now, for a cabinet, that might be a little too large, so you got to split it. So to take away a little bit just for that opening, that little bit of 1/4 inch, a little bit of 1/4 inch with a little bit of gap, we're going to subtract just 3 3/8 for double doors, and that's going to be off of just half. And you can see that I have that in both, half of the door. So that takes that 1/4 inch more that you're going to be taking off. So let's review here. Stiles and rails run up and down. The panel you don't want to worry about just yet. The rails run between the stiles. So that's what comes up with the whole, wow, minus 3 3/8 or 3 1/8 for a single door. Because you have this, you have the overhang, you have this, you have the overhang, you got those grooves, and you got the tongues on the rails. And that's what it's going to look like in its detail. So here, in more of a perspective view, you have your tongue fitting into the stile, and you have your tongue from your panel, whether it be a raised solid panel or a 1/4 inch flat panel or a glass panel, tucks into to that opening. And by the picture, the 1/4 inch wide by 3/8 deep groove is very close to what we have for our cutters set up. What are our pieces going to be? We already know that they're going to be 3/4 thick. It's been a standard throughout so far. The width of them are going to be 2 1/4. So we know that. And we just have to use our opening to calculate what the lengths are going to be. So the length of our rails, because we subtracted 3 1/8 from 13 1/8, obviously I made this first one easy, the length of those rails are going to be 10 inches. The 20-inch height opening, we have to add 5/8, and you'll see that it's easy enough, just add 5/8 to 20. And obviously it'll get a little bit more challenging when we put some other fractions in there. And we also need a cut list, just like we did with our frame. So we're going to have quantity and TWL, our thickness, width, and length, all in inches. So to figure out the actual cut list for this one, we need 2 pieces. They're still going to be 3/4 thick, 2 1/4 wide, and 10 inches long. And obviously the next line is going to be 2 inches for a quantity, 3/4 thick, 2 1/4 in width, and 20 and 5/8 in length. Okay, for this part of the lesson, folks, what we're going to do is figure out exactly what our rail length is going to be and what our style length is going to be for these 5 examples. You will be going into Canvas and you will be entering the frame A rail length, frame A style length. You don't have to make a cut list at this point. We already did that with the face frame, so everybody knows how to do a cut list. You will do one for your styles and rails for your door frame though. Frame B, so frame A is going to be a given one. You'll automatically get those 2 points. For frame B, we'll measure these out, pause the video, and then enter the rail length and style length after you're done with your calculations. Then you'll restart the video. Figure out frame C, D, and E. From there, you'll complete the Canvas quiz and move on to the next lesson. For frame A, if I measure between here, the style and style for the opening width, that will give me my rail length. So I have to take 23 1/8 minus 3 1/8 and enter my rail length for this particular cabinet frame. That rail length is going to be 20 inches. And please include in Canvas the inch symbol, or else unfortunately it's not going to give you the correct answer. The height of the opening is 20 inches. So the style length for face frame A is going to be 20-5/8 inch. So from there, we will complete the rest of the frames, but first, pause here and enter those 2 distances for frame A in the cabinet quiz. Frame B, the width, 17 5/8. Use that number to calculate the rail length. The finish opening height is 23. Use that number to calculate the style length. Enter those 2 numbers for frame B in Canvas. For frame C, use 18 3/4 to calculate for the rail length for frame C. For the finish opening height, use the number 22 to find the style length. Enter those 2 numbers for frame C in Canvas. For frame D, for rail length, we'll be using the number 15.5 to calculate that rail length. We'll be using the number 47 13/16 to calculate the stile length. Those two numbers for frame D, enter those in Canvas. For frame E, to calculate the rail length, we'll be using the finish opening of 23 1/8. To calculate for the stiles, we'll be using the number 36 5/16. Using those two numbers, calculate the rail length and stile length for frame E. Enter those in Canvas.